Today is the 26th of September, 2024. I am Jacob Payne, and boy, do I have news for you for what we present to you as things you might not have heard. A news update for this every single weekend morning to you here on the Conversation Project. And we have 8 stories in the queue for you, including one that's essentially breaking news. We put it out there, we put it in the queue with the belief that it would make it. And trust me, in the time that it's been while I was just editing issues, it's one of the top scoring stories for the time frame. So I think we made the right choice here. And that is Mr. Eric Adams. We'll talk about him right off the bat, plus 7 other stories that you deem as conversational, things that were vetted by you to talk about. We'll talk about Julia Chrisley and Chappell Roan. Chappell Roan is still in the news. I'm still wondering why I care, but she needs to clarify what she said the other day. We'll explain the vetting process in a bit, but right now, I'll remind you that if you want to know about what we do for our Today Things, check us out at our website. This is the Conversation Project. It's online.com. It's there all the time for you to see how we do things, why we do things, and the value you get from all of our actions. And you can complain about the actions, or you can comment and give us compliments on the actions, but we get mostly complaints at our email address, the conversation inbox at gmail.com. Thank you so much for all the people who have commented lately, all the new folks who've come into the queue. We are doing some newer things or some older, newer things with some new equipment, getting things lined up. And we've had some small issues there. We're working those out as quickly as possible. So thank you so much for being with us for along the ride for all these things. Now, as already stated, the date today is September 26th. It's Thursday in 2024. And these 8 news stories are not in any particular order. In fact, some of them are really out of order. Right? These are some of the stories from the top half of stories from yesterday that I deem good enough, best enough for the conversation, for the narrative. You can agree or disagree as you want to. Starting off right off the bat with a story that literally I saw this morning as I started doing my editing. I went ahead and said, we're going to do this story now, not wait for it tomorrow, because we'll probably be talking major hurricane stuff tomorrow. And you guys did not disappoint. I went ahead and posted it early into the listings. And while I was working editing, you guys made this one of the top stories in the queue, and it only had about an hour and a half to get that work done. Last night, Mayor Eric Adams of New York City was indicted, said sources, and now he's officially, expected to turn himself in today to authorities. This is the first time of someone at this level will be facing this sort of criminal charges going forward. Like, as the mayor, the sitting mayor is seeing charges, with all the folks around him being indicted, being investigated. Someone actually, I think, committed suicide, which was something taken out of context, not a context, out of the mix when this came in there, because that was what may have been the leading story in New York City. Have another New York story with implications on trials, but we'll get to him again in a moment. He's the first sitting mayor of New York, of a city, to face such charges. As I said, the indictment comes after the grand jury investigation, though the exact charges not yet made public. They tend to keep these out of the public eye until someone actually shows up, so you know what's going on because of flight risk, things like that. Adam's not so much a flight risk, but we believe the charges stem from his interactions with officials out of Turkey. The rumor behind the mills are that Eric Adams has some Turkish money or Turkish influence helping him get things done. We'll see what happens, as he's expected to turn himself into authorities today. Someone who is already behind bars and can't go anyplace, literally, is seeing more allegations. We talked about this. This was our teaser story for today, so we knew we were going to have a chance to talk about this one specifically. But Sean Combs is accused of rape and recording allegedly an attack on a person in a new lawsuit. This is a new add-on lawsuit to all the other ones that are going on out there. Sean Diddy Combs accused of raping a woman and recording the attack in a lawsuit that was filed recently, and this allegation took place in 2001, when Combs and his bodyguard reportedly assaulted a woman in a New York City recording studio and put it out on wax. The lawsuit claims that Combs drugged the woman before the attack and later attempted to sell the video of the incident. And this is more legal troubles for Mr. Combs, who's, of course, right now being charged for, running a criminal crime ring and sex trafficking, along with other allegations of abuse and rape and abuse that are going on. Right now, it's just a matter of piling on to Diddy's caseload, and we're just going to just see this go longer and longer, more and more. Let's move on to a third story for today. And this headline is the updated headline to what we had. We originally posted that they were expected to, but now they're basically going to. The judge decided has approved the liquidation of Alex Jones Infowars assets to pay for Sandy Hook families. Alex Jones had lost a $1 billion lawsuit for damages to owe to the Stanley Hook families. And it's not so much about the money because $1 billion does not bring your child back, but it's about seeing somebody who was so reckless and just so ridiculous in his actions pay. And he's going to pay. Now, under rules, because it's kind of bad to not let people, I won't say enjoy, but try to make a living while they're dealing with things like this. Infowars has been able to function under not so much normal conditions. Alex Jones does everything he can to rearrange all his finances, get everything's hidden so he can squirrel away some money someplace while trying to keep his Infowars going. People apparently still want Infowars, still pay to be on Infowars, but all the supplement ads, all the crazy talk, all the just, you, and crisis actors is going to go away. As the judge says, they can now split it up and sell it piece by piece. It's a fixture sale. You can sell this camera, you can sell this desk piece, you can sell this video archive. It's now all up for sale by liquidation, by, everything must go to pay off this $1 billion. Will it actually add up to $1 billion? Who knows? We'll see. But right now, Infowars is being shut down, or the parent company is being shut down because they're going to sell things off piece by piece starting in November. We'll see what happens. Confirmation for Julie Chrisley and her appeal has been denied. Poorly written, poorly spoken there, but also the very poorly written headline we used to promote this. Julie Chrisley makes emotional court appearance as her 84-month sentence is upheld. The bottom line for Julie Chrisley is that she made an emotional appeal to try to lessen the time she has served in jail. Her husband got about 12 years for their tax frauds and all their dealings. She got about 7 years, 84 months. The reality TV star is going to stick around for her trial, her time, her full 84 months for tax evasion and bank fraud because the judge decided not to accept her appeal. The appeal was granted a chance to go for it. She asked for leniency. She gave a tearful and very emotional plea. She looks nothing like she looks on TV, as she's had a chance to, to get the hair and nails officially now with brown hair and looking a bit more dour from being in service of the jail system for a while. The glamour of Chrisley Knows Best is not being shown at the moment, and right now the glamour of being in jail is what's going to continue. Her legal proceedings have drawn a lot of attention to the show, and a lot of people who were not into what was going on before to kind of pay attention now. But both Chrisleys will continue to spend their time in jail, with Julia finishing out her full 7-year term, and right now, her husband going to, for without any other news on this one, fill out his full 12 years that he is sentenced to prison. We like you to take a moment and think about us. We like to think about us, whenever brief moments come into your mind, but think about us at this moment and some things you can do to help us move forward and get better things from the world. Like the broadcast you're seeing right now that's live here, you'll see this, or maybe you're seeing it in a recording later on, and we're doing this. It's 5:52 a.m. in the morning as we're now recording these things back to live, trying to do our best to work the workflow and get things out there. So if you're watching me live, give me a comment and like and where you are, what's going on, and like this show so that people will see it and it'll get more Google juice for people out there watching it live. And in the future, they can see how many likes are there and get some social proof. Share it with some friends you love or some random strangers who will say, what the hell is this? And let more people see what we're doing for the Conversation Project. I am flabbergasted, which is not the word for the day, of all the responses we've been getting lately as we've done some extra things to grow, and other people have actually shared us for other folks to get some responses. Many of them not very nice, which is fine because you have to work through those things. But we're getting a lot more responses, a lot more engagement from things. And I am extremely impressed by how we're getting things done and by how intelligent most of you are. Some of you aren't, but share this with other folks and get more juice for all of us so we can kind of see what's happening. And subscribe to this broadcast, this podcast, if you listen to the audio, in whatever form you want to. We're on all the pretty much major audio platforms for your podcast. And podcasting actually is getting more juice than the video, which is believable. Podcasting gets more reach than the video, which is amazing, also flabbergasting. Subscribe to the video so you make sure you don't miss this one. You get a notification if you hit the bells or whatever whistles and whatever you're watching to see when we go live, or you can just see us in your feed for subscription stuff to go check us out, see what's there. We ask you to check out your feeds anyway to see what's there. You'll see us there and go forward in those things. Like, share, and subscribe so we get more of y'all in the conversation. Now, more of y'all in the news. And this is not a y'all, this is a very special person. Aubrey Plaza is a super duper star and she's doing lots of stuff. Now, this is actually a twofer type story because we're going to get two stories in there. The original story we posted was on the upcoming film Megalopolis, which is done by Francis Ford Coppola, who many are saying as reviews are out, it's kind of a waste of time. It's a mess. It's kind of pretty, but it ain't got much in the way of a mindset and storyline. But we're not going to talk about that part. We're talking about Aubrey Plaza, who's actually doing a bit of a wink and a nod, but showing some love to Fox News. As she says, she prepared for her role as the corrupt journalist in Megalopolis by watching a lot of Fox News, something she doesn't necessarily do. But in order to prepare for this role, she watched a lot of Fox News for Megalopolis. The movie, she is playing a corrupt journalist, and she said the research helped her better understand the mindset and style of certain media and personalities, allowing her to channel her intensity and persona needed for the role. Sip of coffee and a pause for effect on that one. Her method approach to acting often involves deep immersion into real life aspects and of the character she portrays. And so she thinks watching the folks at Fox News is the method actor that she needs to emulate to be a corrupt journalist. Not that she's saying Fox News journalists are corrupt. She just want to get into the mindset of that type of journalist. Pause for effect again. Just let that one wash over for a second. Your mileage may vary on your views on Fox News hosts. Let's move to story number 6 for this morning. And this is one we had a little bit of inside stuff that hopefully won't take things long. We had some back and forth inside stories to get into. We are not talking about Macklemore. We'll kind of explain that in a second. We're not talking about some other things. We wanted to talk about the suicide pod story, which will probably have a couple more days of life. So we'll get to that one going forward. No pun intended on that one, trust me. But this is one that I followed for a bit because I'm a fan of the NBA, a fan of TNT, and a fan of this show particularly. But TNT lost its rights to basketball for NBA basketball after 35 years of being the main home sport. Basically, the birth of TNT brought in the place to do sports. And that's because the NBA actually did it on purpose. They put in poison pills in the deal with Amazon to prevent Warner Brothers TNT from matching it. Now, we've talked a lot of poison pills lately. We talked specifically about them in the deals that were supposed to get a continuing resolution to get the government funded for a little bit longer. They've actually passed something and gone on recess. So we have now till December, I think the 22nd. So now it's no longer a birthday present for them to fail us with government. It's now a Christmas present. There's that. But the NBA on TNT and TNT actually carrying sports, or at least basketball, was basically killed on purpose by the NBA putting poison pills in the media rights deal with Amazon to prevent Warner Brothers Discovery from actually doing what they wanted to do on TNT and other venues. They had cross promotions with Amazon Prime services and other terms that made it hard for Warner Brothers to actually compete. Essentially, they TNT, they Warner Brothers would have to advertise Amazon stuff on their own platform, not just, hey, here are games coming up like you see in NFL. They're talking about all the games in the schedule. Oh, and watch it on Amazon Prime. Don't watch it here. Development ends, as I said, 35-year partnership with the NBA, the league's primary broadcaster for the games on network television. There's, of course, NBA TV and, of course, the full court package where you can get them through streaming where you want to. But we know the TNT show is dead. It's gone. It's going away. We know that some of the folks that did the primetime TV show are being taken care of in most cases. Charles Barkley will stay on TNT to do something sports-wise for a while. What that is, no one knows. We just do know that Amazon, Jeff Bezos, the evil genius that he is, has found a way to wrangle away basketball from network television now, basically exclusively to a streaming service. And we'll see how that plays along, as now we're basically beholden to the internet and streaming in this day and age. Move on to story number 7. And this is one we fought hard to go back and forth to get into because this is an interesting story. I am all in on stories that talk about the NIL, name, image, and likeness, and paying players in college sports some money to do stuff, and how some of these people get big money to do stuff. We're talking Arch Manning and Shadir Sanders, just guys like that with big names who get a big payday because of famous fathers, famous uncles, all that stuff. This kid, no one famous, but apparently there was a deal that was not done properly. So now we don't get to see much out of a promising quarterback for UNLV. He's going to sit out the season. The starter, he was mid starter, but he's going to sit out because his agent says he's in college and has an agent says his $100,000 promised transfer fee was not paid. Matthew Stuka was going to sit out the remainder of the season because his agent said they didn't get paid his NIL money that was promised to him by UNLV, not by a sponsor, but the school itself said they're going to pay him $100,000 to transfer to UNLV. The redshirt this year is kind of a big deal because he should be someone that people need to watch and see because the whole point is to go to the next level. And Sluka is supposed to be pretty good. I've not seen UNLV football this season, so I don't know. But the big deal is the university on the Nevada, Las Vegas says there was no formal agreement to pay him $100,000 to come to the school. So now it's a he said between the school and the agent, essentially, because Luca knows to keep his mouth shut and just sit down and do whatever. He's on the team, but he chooses to not to play because he was promised a payday that apparently is not going to happen or didn't actually exist. So that's why it can't happen. Let's move on to our final story in the 8 for the day. And we go back to Chappell Roan, who I still don't know who she is and still don't particularly care what she says, but the internet still cares. So she came out to clarify her 2024 presidential election stance after much backlash by saying, I don't care who you vote for. Vote for the best part of your conscience. The actual statement that should be is you should vote. Vote is important. Voting is important. You should put your name behind, your ballot behind, your check box, your little button on the electronic voting machine on the person you think is going to be the best for you and your country, which may or may not be the same thing. Sometimes the best thing for you does not do the best for the other folks, but it's your choice. Chappell Roan is, of course, listed as a rising pop star, but her political stance after telling fans, didn't matter who you voted for, just vote more or less, is coming to light. So she spoke out on her TikTok saying, no, I'm not voting for Trump, emphasizing that her actions and political beliefs speak louder than endorsements. So that's why she said she wasn't endorsing anybody. So it wasn't really worth her saying that, I like Kamala, I hate Trump, but saying, I'm not going to endorse either one of them, but I'm going to vote. And then having to tell folks who your vote is an endorsement in a sense, but it also comes out to be something that it's why are we caring so much about these politicians? Yes, I know Taylor Swift says I'm endorsing Kamala Harris, and I'm a childless cat lady and all the great things like that. And they've got people to go out there and register to whom to vote for. I've been saying for about 20 years, because I've worked in conservative radio where I don't always agree with the conservatives, but I do tend to vote slightly right of center, that voting matters. And your one vote doesn't necessarily count. So be careful when you hear that. But when you vote in a group of people that want the similar things, it makes a difference. Even if you don't win the election, a large gathering of people shouting the same thing together means you get heard. It means people see that you are mentioned. You saying you wanting pineapple pizza and you being on pineapple pizza means nothing. But if there's a coalition of people who are going to insist there's pineapple on pizza, somebody's going to cave and give you pineapple pizzas. They're going to buy one or two for you guys to just shut up. That's how voting works. That's how representation works. It really isn't about one person being really loud and crazy and boisterous. Donald Trump can't really just do stuff because he says so. There really is a mechanism behind that. And to make that mechanism work, you've got to put the right people in office in the right places so that it works. My endorsement is for no one. My vote, I've told you, is going for Kamala Harris because I cannot vote for Donald Trump, but I really don't want to vote for Kamala Harris. I didn't want to vote for Joe Biden either, but it was the choices that were out there that were rational. Kamala Harris is getting my vote. We can discuss that in email comments at the conversation inbox, gmail.com, or you can blast me here in the video. Why not? Because you're doing it anyway. But Chappell Roan's non-endorsement is simply fine. But she had to clarify because apparently her fans are like, "So you want us to vote for Trump?" And she's like, "No, because I'm not voting for Trump." We have to clarify these things because she's important. She's not Taylor Swift. I'm not sure why she's important, but you guys say she is. Let's move on to our teaser story. And this is what's really important. And it's not important to me because I don't particularly care other than the laugh factor. But to Christina with a K, my beautiful wife, this is news that's going to be great. Just going to be, astounding for her. Flabbergasted, maybe, maybe. Hallmark is releasing its countdown to Christmas movie lineup. It released it yesterday, and it's telling us that movies for Christmas start in October. We have Christmas movies basically every week from October all the way to Christmas, which I guess if your Halloween creep started in August, your Christmas creep can start in October, and you can be inundated with Christmas movies all season long throughout the long season. Check out the link, check out the story, see which weeks you want to circle on your calendar and put in your DVR to watch this stuff and get into this one. I don't want to go long in this one because I need you to actually engage in the story so we can go talk more about this and make fun of the fact that all the cities in Toronto with fake snow making movies in the summer are now getting their shining light as they fight them out for the weekend's box office eyeballs starting in October. Yesterday, we teased Sean Diddy Combs and his rape accusation case. We talked about the day. That's how that happened. So the tease part, why are we talking about these stories? Why in particular? Well, every single day, all day long, what we do is produce news articles. We put them on our feeds. Those are our pages on Facebook and on X and on Threads. Threads.com, threads.net / at this is a conversation, x.com or still twitter.com / th_conversation, and facebook.com / this is the conversation project. So every 50 minutes or so, we post a news article from various places. Some of them you like, some of them you might not like. Some stories you might really get a gas out of. Some, like the Chappell Roan stories, which just sort of keep coming in because you guys engage in them. So I'm giving you what you want, are there. It's not so much about me, it's about what stories seem to be the most engaging by you guys as you vote on them and as what makes the best narrative. Like I said, we're not talking about Macklemore being busted down and kicked out of a musical festival because he says some pro-Palestinian stuff. That one might have been more important, but more engaging, Chappell Roan. So, in order to make sure the story you want is in there, make sure it gets really, 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 really big engagement by going to our feeds and engaging in it. Click like, click love, click hate, share it with folks, engage in comments. The higher the engagement score a story gets, better chance you have to talk about it. For Friday, tomorrow, we'll give you 8 stories again, and they'll be from the top half of the stories throughout the day. About 30 stories posted within the day, about top 15. We'll take a look at those and pull 8 of those into our narrative. If you like today's narrative, let me know. If you don't like today's narrative and you wish you would have talked about Macklemore, let me know that as well. But that's how the stories get into the actual headlines. We put them in the feeds by just scouring the news all day long and placing them in there and shifting them around on what things might be interesting. Sometimes they get a hit, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they take a couple days to really, a story takes a few days to actually pick up steam. So we put something out there fairly early. Sometimes we wait for a while for something to seem like it's important, and we miss it because it comes out kind of late. It is what it is. It's not exactly a fair shot, but it's a shot for 30 or so stories to be talked about tomorrow. Can you make it happen? Our sponsor for today is me, or specifically my book, 100 Daily Affirmations for Positivity and Confidence. So if you are following along and watching the fun stuff, the things you might ought to know program that happens right after this one, producing live as well, you know we have, and we used to do it here for a longer version of this thing, we have a spot where we do a daily affirmation. Affirmations are something that I've used for quite some time, and in this book, I describe how affirmations can work for you because I do admit they are sort of a not quite so woo-woo, but just a mystical thing that sort of work for some and don't work for others. But it takes the want to try to make them happen. So in this book, I have 100 affirmations that you can use to help get yourself pumped up throughout the day. Each affirmation has 5 different reasons, 5 different explanations on why it actually can boost you going forward. And there's a chapter at the beginning of the book to tell you how affirmations work or can work for you. But the minutes that for some folks it does not work. Very easy to access book, very inexpensive book, $5 on Amazon Kindle and $10 in paperback. Click the link inside of this presentation. or search for 100 Affirmations Pain wherever you buy your books, because it's on other various online bookstores as well. And check it out. If you're someone who's been looking for something to find a way to boost up whatever is going on with them, an affirmation is simple. You can also just check out the things you might ought to know coming on the same feed in mere moments as we wrap these things up, literally as we get this thing done in a moment. And you can kind of get a gist of what's going on and what you're getting from this book right here. Very quickly, the Conversation Project lives online at this is conversationproject.com. More details on how we do things by going to our website and learning more about us. It's that simple. We provide for you. It's a service. It's no, news is a service. News is a service that allows you to get information that you don't have time to go doing digging research for. Although I also suggest you go check out various sources, because we are not meant to be a prime source. We miss a lot of things because we're dealing with things that people are sort of being chatty about and sometimes really petty and nasty about. We are a supplemental source to give you some insight to things when the stories are all one story in the major headlines. The major mainstream media gets stuck on. Tomorrow will be all hurricane, and then it'll be all Trump stuff and Kamala Harris stuff all weekend with stuff going that way. We give you some stories that give you insights on things that are being talked about, that are conversations that people think are worthy of talking about, because you tell us they're worthy. Go to our website, learn more about us, see more of our past things out there. Stop by our sponsors page and consider checking out our sponsors. All of our sponsors are affiliate links. So if you click on the sponsor, buy from them, we get a small commission back. If you think we're doing well enough that you want to help directly fund the effort and be a part of the conversation, the internal conversation, stop by our partnerships page and click the link to find a way to be a partner. Various tiers, various methods, various links to do that. So if you want to help us out on that end, we appreciate that as well. The things you can do for free, that are the actual most important things you do, is follow us in the feeds, Facebook, X, and Threads. And of course, email us with your comments, because the comments, whether you're paying in as a partner or just popping off as you want to, we take all the comments seriously. Email us the conversation inbox at gmail.com and let me know what we can do to be better, or sometimes be not as worse. There's a difference. Today has been, as we record this video here, or it's actually technically still Thursday, September the 26th, 2024. Whether you're watching this on this Thursday, watching us live on the wrapping thing up here, or you are watching it delayed on Thursday or somewhere in the future, we thank you so much for joining us for this here thing. And what you do for us is let us know what to do in this here things. Your votes count here every single day for the Conversation Project. What you tell us to talk about is what we try to talk about. Engage with our stories that are in the feed so we know what stories are the most engaging, and we can do our best to make sure they are being pushed out that route. Also, make sure you are following us wherever you can. Subscribe, like, and share so we get more people in the conversation and you don't miss out on conversational topics and things going forward. I am Jay Cleveland Payne. Thank you so much for being with us for this journey here. More for the Friday edition. We wrap these things up and prepping for the weekend edition, which is a wrap up of some of the bigger stories, best stories from the weekend or the week in the weekend. That's all to come. Thank you so much for being with us today. We'll join you in a few moments for the things you might ought to know. So stay right here on this feed, on this channel, and you'll see the fun stuff happening in just a bit.